Hello, and welcome to Let My People Eat, a podcast that provides satisfying talk about kosher nutrition. Here we clear through the clutter of nutrition speak, arm you with the clarity and confidence to eat, feel, and be your healthiest every day. I am Jill Scharfman, a board-certified holistic nutritionist living in Los Angeles, and with me is Dr. Andrea Moskowitz.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andrea Moskowitz, and I'm a neuroscientist and psychiatrist. I use my training and experience to integrate positive lifestyle changes into my patients' lives.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, Jill. How's it going?
It's going really well. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Do you know what IE, Haze, or BOPO is? Have you heard those terms?
I have no idea.
You have no idea. Well,
no.
Lucky for you, we have somebody in the studio today who can explain all of this to us.
Good.
So let me introduce her, and then we'll dive right in. Sarah Kupfer is with us. She's the founder of Fit Jewess. She's a fitness coach with the mission of empowering Jewish women worldwide through joyful movement and fostering a community united through body positive and weight neutral fitness. She's a CrossFit trainer, a Haze advocate, and encourages her clients, both in person and online, to view exercise as a way to feel more confident by increasing energy, gaining strength, and discovering how amazingly capable their bodies are. Hey, Sarah.
Hey. Hi, Sarah.
Welcome. So please explain to us what are these terms that we're hearing? Let's start with Haze.
All right. So Haze stands for Health at Every Size. And essentially, the premise of Haze is that any person can be healthy regardless of their size. It doesn't mean that everyone is healthy right now, which I think is a very common misconception when people hear about Haze. But it means that if they have and maintain proper healthy habits on a daily basis, they can be healthy regardless of how much they weigh or what their size is. Mm-hmm. I would say body positivity goes a little bit more into the...
Okay, so let's talk about body positivity. So what is the body positive movement?
This is actually a question that I'm not...
Okay, so here, the work that I've done research, it says the definition according to Wikipedia, the body positive movement is a movement that encourages people to adopt more forgiving and affirming attitudes towards their bodies with the goal of improving overall health and well-being. The body positive movement focuses on building self-esteem through improving one's self-image.
That's probably what you were referring to before. And the reason why I don't like answering this question is because that's the approach that I take when I talk about body positivity. But the actual body positive movement is really more about just accepting people as they are. So regardless of size, every person deserves to get proper health care. And the reality is that they don't. As soon as you walk into your doctor's office, if you're overweight, that's the first thing they're going to say. Oh, it's an issue with your weight. Lose weight and then come back. And that's not really a way to diagnose problems. So going into a clothing store, you get different treatment depending on your size, whether that's fair or not. Well, it's not. So really, that's where the body positive movement started. I don't know at what point it shifted more into the positive body image. That's really what you're talking about more.
Okay.
So that's more of the work that I do. I talk about positive body image, and again, I call it body positivity, but I just wanted to make that little differentiation.
No, that's good because, like Andrea, we don't know very much about this arena, so we're happy you're here to educate us and help us understand all the differences and what it all means, and hopefully enlighten the audience also. Okay, so we'll get deep, but what's weight neutral?
Weight neutral. So when I work with my clients, I work with them on building strength, on increasing energy, on feeling good, on addressing any specific muscles that they want to. And it has nothing to do with how much they weigh. That just doesn't play a part in how I structure the program.
Oh, okay.
What will play a part is how active they've been, what their physical capabilities are right now, but very often that has no correlation with their weight.
Okay, got it. Okay, so talk a little bit about your story. Like, how did you become a CrossFit trainer? Why you're on a mission? Yes, you're on a mission.
I love talking about.
Okay, go.
So growing up, my favorite sport was sitting on the couch with a really good book. You could not pay me to go to the gym. I was like literally the last kid chosen for dodgeball all through school. And when I was moving from Toronto, where I'm from, to California, I figured it would be a good time to just add some sort of movement into my life because living a sedentary lifestyle is not healthy. No. Running on a treadmill, kickboxing, Zumba class, those were all not for me. And I'd read an article about CrossFit. I was intrigued by the idea of weightlifting. So I decided to give it a shot.
Right.
Fell in love with it from the very first class. If I have a barbell in my hand, I am so happy.
I think we should put that on a t-shirt.
And I don't know if you're familiar with the CrossFit community at all, but it's a known thing that if you're a CrossFitter, all you're doing is talking about CrossFit and driving the people around you crazy. That's totally what I did.
Right.
And the more I spoke about it, the more I realized the people in my community didn't want to hear about it. And it wasn't so much about the CrossFit. It was just about fitness in general.
Your community.
The Orthodox community. And I realized that fitness is really not a priority. And I said, I have to change that. I think a big part of that is because it's so directly associated with weight loss. That's the messaging that we get from society, that if you go exercise, you'll lose weight. So when people think of losing weight, they think diets are going to get me there faster, which is not true, but that's a side note.
Right.
But because they have that understanding in their minds, they focus on the food aspect of it rather than the fitness rather than the exercise aspect of it, which is what really the benefits of exercise are amazing. Irrespective of weight loss.
Okay. So when somebody talks to somebody who may be overweight and they have you found that people will make comments that are inappropriate?
100,000 million %.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And they say they're doing it from a place of love, a place of caring. You know, I'm worried about you, you know, for whatever reason. But I think a lesson all of us have to learn is that they, don't know if there's a medical condition that might be underlying. What's going on? Is there something hormonal, some medication that somebody's on that could be causing these problems? So I've actually learned not to comment at all on people's weight because I have seen people go, oh my God, you look great. You lost so much weight. And then I found out the person was sick.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very common.
And at that point, I made that decision. You know what? I don't comment on people's weight.
Right.
Big, little, doesn't
Thank you.
matter.
On behalf of everyone, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Because also you could look at a woman with an eating disorder.
Exactly.
And she could be skinny and look fabulous, but you have no idea when she goes home at night what she's encountering, what demons are there.
And these comments that you're giving are really just feeding that eating disorder.
So to speak.
And I think, and I think that even looking at it from a different perspective, you have so many fat people that have eating disorders, but those same habits that are considered horrible in the thin people are really condoned if they're fat, right? Those same restrictions that they're putting on themselves or whatever it is. So we just don't know who has what. And until what I say is, if you really care about me and you're telling me that I should lose weight for my health, first check my blood work.
Right.
You know, check my bone density, check my energy levels, and then we can have a conversation. But don't look at me and make that statement.
Right. Okay. So now, when I first started reading about HAES, the healthy eating at any size, I thought it meant that people could eat whatever they want, whenever they want. That seemed to be the way they were going. Like, I want to eat the ice cream, or I want to eat the cookie.
Eating?
Yeah, I guess it leads into intuitive eating.
Yeah. Which I think sometimes is misused.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I remember, I mean, this was a long, long time ago. There was a study done. I don't know how they got the parents to do this, but it was like in the 50s or something. And they had like 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds, and they brought them in, and they had tables filled with different foods, and they let them choose for their meals what they could eat and how much they would eat of it. And basically what they said was, what they found was over the course of a week, kids would eat a perfectly balanced diet, not at any one meal. And it was interesting. They found 1 or 2 kids who would eat like one kid would eat like 12 hard-boiled eggs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot for anybody. But then they found that this kid had some kind of like deficit or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that made sense. But the thing was, so that was intuitive eating, and that's, I think, where the whole kind of concept way back originally.
Yeah.
The thing was, I don't think they had cookies on the table.
I don't know that. You're right.
I don't think so, because I think they had like kind of more what we would say healthier choices,
right?
But then they just let the kids choose what
from those
choices, and if they wanted to eat 4 slices of bread and and an apple or a glass of milk, that was it. Fine, goodbye. Right. They didn't have to like eat a whole balanced plate at every meal,
right? So what you're describing is actually DOR, division of responsibility, which is an approach that a lot of people who like the intuitive eating approach to eating use with their kids, which is the parent decides what is being offered and where it's being offered and when it's being offered, and the kid decides if they want to eat and how much they want to eat, which is what you're saying. The food's on the table, they get to pick and choose, and over the course of time, they really do have healthy, balanced diets. It's just not necessarily
in one meal.
The portions that we think it should be, or the whatever it's called, my plate, the things that they use nowadays. Like that's not really how we work. It's not how we eat. We use the energy in different ways depending on so many different factors. Right. But it's interesting to note that even if you did have cookies on the table, very often they will ignore the cookies. Very often they'll take the cookies, put them on their plate. They may or may not eat them. And if they do, sometimes they, take a bite of a cookie, take a bite of broccoli, take a bite of chicken, go back to the cookie. If everything's there, really the idea is to neutralize all foods so that you don't feel like you have to restrict anything. Right. And when that happens, there isn't that desire for it as much.
Right.
That's very good. I like, though, that there have to be those healthy choices. Like, I know
for sure
when we go to Shoal and there's the even the kids club or the kiddish club, I mean, the food that they put out, it's not really even food. They're not giving us those healthy choices, or the kids, unfortunately.
I have kind of advocated for it.
Yes. Andrea's made changes. We now have
water.
We now have water.
Bottles of water instead of soda.
Nice.
And we have fruit.
Awesome. Yeah. But I will beg to differ and say it is food. We like to call it, I like to call it play foods. We have more nutritious foods. We have less nutritious foods. I think they all play some role in our life. It's just a matter of how much and when they're really little, we're not necessarily giving them free rein to everything. And as an adult, then intuitive eating. So going back to what you were talking about it being eat whatever you want, whenever you want. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But we need to understand everything, the 10 principles of intuitive eating. They're not rules per se, but they're sort of understandings of what intuitive eating is. And part of what comes into play is nutrition. Mm-hmm. So the reason I think that a lot of people misunderstand the whole concept is because, number one, the first thing that has to happen is letting go of diet culture. And part of that process is letting yourself eat whatever you want to eat. And for a lot of people, it looks like a total binge of everything that they haven't let themselves eat for years. So that's sort of where eat whatever you want, whenever you want comes into. And as you learn to really give yourself permission to eat things, you just won't want them as much. Mm-hmm. And once you've established that, then proper nutrition starts playing a role in that. There are things we should be eating more than other things. And once we can understand that, and we're in a healthy place with our food and our bodies, that's when we can really bring that into play. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does. But do people get there? That's my 100%. Concern. Okay.
100%.
Because I just, I don't eat the intuitive. I mean, yes and no, but I just feel like if I gave myself permission to eat whatever I want and whenever I wanted, I would not be healthy.
I don't know.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
I think if you really gave yourself that chance to explore it, you would come to that really healthy, balanced place. And I think part of it is also understanding that whatever I want to eat means what makes me feel good. If I know that when I eat, 3 slices of pizza, I just feel horrible, or even 1 slice of pizza. Some people don't react well to pizza, mm-hmm. whether it's the gluten or the cheese or whatever, like without demonizing any foods or the salt, every person reacts. Every person reacts differently to different foods. Right. So if there's something in there that's going to really bother you, it's naturally something you're going to stay away from just because you don't want to feel blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think what you're saying is part of it's becoming more sensitized to how your body and yourself reacts
Yes.
to the different foods
Yes.
and the tastes and things like that. And I mean, I think too for you, like I know how you cook and everything. So, you cook like really taste, your food is really good. She's such a good cook.
Thank you.
I mean, like amazing.
Thank you.
I'll have to come over for me one.
You'll have to come over.
I always try to wrangle like invitations and stuff. Yeah.
You're always welcome.
It got to a point she saves stuff for me for Yenta.
Nice.
But I mean, because you are really into food and taste and stuff like that. I think there's certain things like even if you gave yourself permission to eat it, you'd probably take one bite and go, ugh. I've certainly had that. I don't, because of my husband's health problem issues, whatever. I don't add very much salt when I cook. A little bit, a tiny bit of kosher salt, but not very much.
Right.
Sometimes when I've gone out, like I can't go back to certain restaurants because they put too much salt in it, and that's all I taste is the salt.
Right.
Because I'm so sensitized to it, it doesn't taste good.
Yeah.
It's
That makes
not-
sense.
It's not tempting.
That makes sense.
Or I had Hanukkah, right? So I used to love donuts, right? And I think I still kind of like them, but it was like I had a bite of a donut, and I was like, ugh. It's like it's too sweet.
Right.
Like I'm not used to eating it so much anymore. Not because I said I can't.
Right.
I never said I can't. I said, okay, if you want, you can have
Right.
it. But I didn't go out of my way to get one either.
But just the fact that you said if I want it, I can get it
Yeah,
is
I can
huge
have it.
because so
Yeah.
many people say I can't have it, and
right.
as soon as you put forbidden waters are sweeter, right? As soon as you
Right.
put a no, you can't on something, all of a sudden you want
That's all
it.
you want.
Yeah.
Right. I think you see that sometimes. We're going to talk about it in the time. But like right before Pesach, where people go, you'd think Pesach was a year long. It's like, I have to have pizza, right? For days leading up to Pesach, it's like, it's 8 days.
Right.
Like, surely you can go without pizza for 8 days. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Rumor has it. But, but I think it's that
It's not like we have history to prove it or anything.
right. It's that mindset of like, I can't have this. I've got to have all of this before those 8 days. Because what's going to happen after the 8
Right.
days are over? The bakeries are not going to reopen. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Right. And I think we should
Yeah.
give Sarah some background
Yeah,
on you
sure.
that Andrea recently lost.
No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I lost 65 pounds without trying to lose it. I upped my exercise dramatically. And I changed when I eat. I changed a little bit what I eat, but I also changed to eating. And there's a new book out about that, but I changed probably 80% of my calories are when it's light outside.
And Andrea did it because she wasn't healthy at the size she was at.
Right, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was sort
Right.
of on the borderline of certain.
Yeah, her doctor said to her,
Pre-diabetic. My doctor said you're on the borderline. If you go over a little bit, we're going to be, looking at type 2 diabetes. And I was
Right.
like, I think we need to do something else here.
Yeah,
And that's,
yeah.
I went home and also I forgot how much I like to exercise.
Yes.
I go to the gym. I'd spin, which I started spinning because my daughters love to spin. And I wanted to be able to do a spinning class with them. That was,
Nice.
which is a whole
Yeah.
workout itself. And then I started lifting weights, which I had done in the past. I know what you're talking about. It's
Right? Best feeling ever.
Oh gosh. I worked at Shoulders this morning. It's very seductive. Like it's
you get a high.
Yeah. Can I
Yeah.
quickly interject with two things?
Sure.
The first one, just want to make it clear, there is nothing wrong with weight loss in and of itself. It's when we look at weight loss as a goal.
wasn't my goal.
For in and of itself.
You're
right. Which is why
It worked.
whatever worked for you is awesome. And if you feel better, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I want to say, and I know I'm sitting in front of a doctor, so I'm like, should I say this or should I not?
Go ahead.
But again, I say this without having credentials,
Right.
but working with people who do and having done a little bit of my own research, using the example of diabetes, there is correlation between weight gain and developing diabetes, but correlation is not causation. So
Right.
we don't really know, am I gaining weight and therefore I'm heading straight towards diabetes, or is weight gain a symptom of diabetes, and will
true.
changing my habits, changing how I eat to a more healthy approach, is adding exercise into my lifestyle, are those going to change the markers that are going to lead to diabetes?
Right.
If we forget weight loss and just put it to the side.
It's definitely not just weight loss, because thin people also get diabetes, and they
Exactly.
also get type 2 diabetes, just to let everybody know. So I have a friend who was sort of in the same position as I was, but she's very thin. I mean, She doesn't have an eating disorder. She's just very thin. And so it doesn't really have to do with that. You're 100% right. But that was just sort of like my impetus.
Yeah.
And that's why I wasn't actually even thinking about losing as much weight as I lost. I thought like 10, 20 pounds, that would be nice, you know? But, and then it just like sort of happened.
Again, and when that's not a goal, then we gain weight, we lose weight, our bodies change as we go through life in different periods and stages and whatever's going on in our bodies. That's totally normal.
Right, exactly.
So, I know you had a recommendation for women about scheduling their workouts. Do you want to talk to our listeners about that?
That's like one of my biggest tips, because I work a lot with Orthodox women, moms, busy, full-time jobs, husband, kids, all of that fun stuff. And everyone says, I don't have time. And I will be the first person to say that if you don't make the time, you are not going to find the time. Right. Time does not want to be found.
Well, they say you make time for the things you want to make time for.
Right? Yes. So on that note, the first thing really is find something that you enjoy doing. I think that is super important. Someone said to me, she was on the dance machine for a while, and then someone's daughter was on the dance machine for a while, and she had a great time. And then she got off and she's like, okay, now I have to go on the treadmill because I have to go work out. Like, you just had a whole workout. Exactly. Like, we have this idea that in our heads that exercise is not fun, and it's not true. Do something that you enjoy doing. I like lifting weights. That's what I'm going to do most of the time. Is it important for me to, get in some more aerobic exercise? Yes. So I'll make the time for that. But overall, especially when starting out, you want to find something that you love doing. Exactly. With that said, schedule it like an appointment. If it's in your calendar, there's a much better chance it's going to get done. This same way you would schedule your kid's dentist appointment, schedule your workout. And sometimes things come up and you have to cancel appointments. It happens. But when you call the dentist and you say, hey, I have to cancel my son's appointment, you also say, let's reschedule. So when that happens, if you have to cancel your workout, reschedule it right away, whether it's for later that day or the next day, whatever it is, do it. And sometimes it just happens that you miss a workout. Life does not end. Yeah. Right. It doesn't.
That's great.
Just get back up on the next one.
Okay, so I'm going to read something to end from Sarah's website, or your blog, I guess. God gave us this amazing vessel to contain our soul. He fashioned this being to exist in a physical world in a way that complements our mission to become the best spiritual being we can be. He created foods that are colorful and tasty, pleasant to look at, and enjoyable to eat. He inspired this concept of exercise that actually changes our emotional state on a chemical level and that leaves us stronger and healthier. He gave us the tools we need to incorporate healthy habits into our life so that we can take care of our body that he loaned to us. It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Really beautiful.
So nice. Well, you did.
I'm impressed.
You did. So thank you, Sarah, for coming
so much
in today.
Thank you
I feel
for
like we could
me.
We have
talk
to have
even
Sarah
more.
come back
yes,
again.
because I feel like there's so much more.
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I want to thank you guys so much for having me, because I know that this is something that sometimes people just don't want to hear about. And sometimes from my end, when people are very into health at every size and body positivity, they want to stay away with a 10-foot pole from anyone who does promote specific diets or nutrition lifestyles or anything like that. And I think I love the fact that you are both so open to hearing other points of view, and that you invited me here.
Thank you. Thank you. No,
pleasure.
our mission is to demystify all of these health, nutrition related things. And neither of us knew a lot about it, so we had to call you in to explain it to us. But we do this with what's paleo, what's intermittent fasting, because we really want to understand
what's organic is coming up.
So thank you for agreeing to come
pleasure.
on. You can find Sarah at fitjewess.com. Also follow her on social media at Fit Jewess. She also has an Ellie Talk, which she did with Civi Pill.
Yes.
Which is great.
I thought was great.
Thank you.
You can search the 11th commandment, thou must diet. It is very entertaining. It's about 10 minutes long. Definitely worth watching. Don't forget to follow me at Jill Scharfman on Instagram. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah.
Happy to be here.
And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Please visit our website at letmypeopleeat.com and leave us a comment. Get in touch at our email at podcast@letmypeopleeat.com or call us at 317-659-0004. Post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the hashtag #LetMyPeopleEatPodcast. If you like this show, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. Tell your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts.
And please remember that although we are certified professionals, this is not a medical advice podcast. No content, posts, or comments should be interpreted as professional guidance. Always speak to your own health practitioner about making the right life changes for you.
Until next time, I am Jill Scharfman.
And I'm Andrea Moskowitz.
Thanks for joining us.
And go in good health.